So hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. If you've watched any of my videos before, you maybe know that I've been teaching myself gymnastics for a while, and this is something that I often get a lot of comments or questions about. And that's kind of why I'm making this video today, because I basically just want to talk a bit about how to get into actually learning gymnastics on your own, because that's usually the hardest part, just like actually getting into it. So it can be really hard to know where to exactly start, and this especially has to do with what skills you should learn first, because I know that that's something that I was a bit confused about, like, was I supposed to try a back handspring immediately? The answer was no, but maybe you don't really realize that and you just want to get the coolest skills right at the beginning. Maybe it seems obvious that you're not supposed to do that, but for me, I remember being so excited about wanting to do these harder skills that I wasn't really wanting to learn the easier ones first, but ultimately that is what you have to do. So basically my first tip is that don't try a backflip the first time you're practicing. Don't make that your first goal. Instead, really try to nail all of these ground basic skills. For example, handstands, cartwheels, bridges, walkovers, both front and back walkovers. There are lots of fundamental skills in gymnastics that are really helpful to learn if you eventually want to get the harder skills. For example, getting your back walkover will eventually lead you to being able to do a back handspring. But you have to have that really strong foundation of being able to do a super good back walkover. And when you've got all of these basic skills, you can try learning the harder ones, and then it becomes more fun because you know you have a really strong foundation. So the next tip is about the equipment that you should have, and I usually do say that you don't need any equipment to actually learn gymnastics. It can be super helpful to have things like a trampoline or an air track. If you can just find a flat area of grass, that usually will do just fine. And if you don't feel comfortable with practicing on grass, you can always use things that you already have at home, such as mattresses or any inflatable mattresses or anything like that. But it can be helpful to buy a mat of some sort if you want to feel a little bit safer when practicing, because this is something that makes it easier to get into learning gymnastics. If you feel like you can just pull out a mat at any time and just start practicing your skills, that can help you with your motivation to want to learn. Just in conclusion, make sure that you have set in your mind a place that is your practicing area. This makes it easier to actually know what to do when you're starting. And at this point, you have the two really most important things that you need to actually start learning and practicing gymnastics. But now you might be thinking that, yes, you know where to go to practice and you have your equipment and you kind of know what skills you want to learn. But you might also be wondering, how are you actually supposed to learn these skills? And this one's pretty easy to answer, because obviously there are so many tutorials on YouTube on how to learn gymnastic skills, and that is a very valuable resource for you if you're wanting to practice gymnastics, because you can watch many different tutorials from different creators, and if you watch many tutorials on the same skill, you can form a pretty good understanding of what it is that you need to do. So that is the tip that I would give. Watch tutorials to get into it, because there are lots of tutorials on basic gymnastic skills too. So start by watching tutorials so that you know what you're actually going to practice and do. And when you've done all of these things, I would say that you've basically started teaching yourself gymnastics. That, I think, is ultimately how you kind of get into it. And that was actually everything I kind of wanted to say today. I know this was a very short video, but I really hope you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for watching. Feel free to ask me questions in the comments or suggest more videos that I should make about this subject or anything that you want to see on my channel. If you want to check out some of my tutorials, you can do that in this playlist that I will link somewhere here. I've done a few tutorials on some basic skills if you want to check that out, and yeah. But as I said, that was everything for today, so thank you so much for watching, and I hope I will see you in my next video.